Hello, sir. Oh. I don't know if you can hear the music, but I don't. Yeah, it is what it is. It is what it is. I need to update this one here, to be honest. Evening, guys. Good evening. I'm trying to get the I think that's better, right? Now it's only the mic. Let me know how the sound is. Right, let me know. And also, can you hear the music that I'm playing? I would like to know. That would be nice. That would be nice. Hopefully the sound is not double. Maybe I can remove it somehow here. Can I remove it? No? Again, feel free to, ask questions and all that good stuff. Yeah, XOP could really start to gain some steam here once it clears 135, I guess. But it has a long way to go, still. Momentum is very interesting, actually. Momentum up here is actually very interesting, like that. Nope, don't do that. Incorrect. We need a yellow one so we can see it. See, momentum here is, again, that is quite interesting for XOP here. That bull flag there on momentum, and we can't see that on price. Well, maybe we can actually. Maybe we can. Yeah, we can't see the bull flag. But let's change that one. So yeah, that's nice. Yeah, 135 XOP looks to be that point in time where we are getting back above, just before the terror thing where we puked, attack it once, and then we break the wedge as well. So that is interesting for XOP. Very interesting. Real estate, also one that, again, I think shortly, again, we're looking at a 5-year time frame, but shortly it looks like it wants to break out the real estate sector, right? This is the again, I don't know how it's made up, but it looks like it wants to go. I mean, at some point in time here, real estate and momentum as well. You can see here, getting frisky. So that is one to watch. Again, many people are thinking that real estate will crash, but based on this ticker, the XLRE, for now at least, it's holding fairly fine. Again, you can ask questions easily in the chat, and we will see what we can do. Financials, why not? We saw a dangerous breakdown there, you know, in March, breakdown backtest, collapse. We actually collapsed all the way back to basically the highs there, and then we started to rally again. Impressive. That is really impressive, to be honest. Oh, you want some ratios? Yeah, very hard. Okay, cool. Anyone, you know, SILJ, like, let me know a ratio and we can have a look at it. Ah, yeah. Let's do energy fuels. We can do. And I will actually do the long-term stuff on that because that is looking absolutely killer. I really like this one here. There are multiple things going in favor of UUU. Remember, monthly candles, very long term, but we are starting to huck. Again, if we close here, it means that we have confirmed expansion, in my view, on the Bollinger Band. Insane volume also, and we are on the path to hit this high right here. That high there, we're gonna make it blue. And you could argue, again, it's not picture perfect or anything, but that we are making some really funky stuff here. So that is interesting to see on UUU. Just based on the bull flag. Again, I didn't take the COVID lows because that might be a bit too extreme. But again, you could again add that to the breakout point here, and again we're targeting a level that I've been teasing a little bit with when we were in this whole pain here, that we do have targets that is pointing to 60-70 on UUU. But you have to be patient, right? This is monthly, right? So this will take some time, but I did most of my buying here at roughly $2. So this was fun, right? And this was very like 4 years worth of bull flagging. That is hard to be a part of. It really is. But yeah, for now it looks good. Next target I have UUU is roughly 11.5 right here. Then we see what happens. That's the next target. Can we breach that? Then all of a sudden it opens up a ton more upside, really. So that's cool. That's really cool. Any ratios you wanted me to look at? I can happily throw in a few easily. Internal break there. Okay, let's see what happened. Again, this is regional banking. Again, why does everything look good at this moment in time? Head and shoulder here as well, breaking. Next one up is this one here, potentially regional banking. Looks insanely good, to be honest. Rare earth metals looks good as well. Again, I wouldn't buy here. Again, we mentioned a buy here at roughly 42 and then later 50. So we've had two. Doing really well. Look at the momentum here as well. The thing is, if we have momentum breakage when we are deeply in the red, don't expect, you know, like a long-term trend to set in, because we have so much momentum still coming down on us that we are expecting some sort of a pause, consolidation at some point in time. So. Okay, First Majestic against the SILJ. We are on weekly candles. Okay, cool. Oh, we're about to break stuff here, aren't we? I think we are. I think we're about to break stuff here. Yep, look at that, boys and girls. So, until we break that, then SILJ, excuse me, yeah, SILJ is the better play. But I would argue that this wall here is going to fall. That's my take. So when we clear roughly 0.6-ish, then I will say we are in the clear. It will the break will happen a little bit lower, but 0.6, then we should be basically with no worries that First Majestic is going to outperform, you know, the SILJ. My first target is easily spotted here. I will say 0.72. So that is 20% outperformance from the breakout, roughly. Right, 27 roughly. And then we could start to stall a bit, but again, you could get some ideas that long term, again, the break here will give head and shoulder targets at some point in time, maybe. Again, could be again. We don't know until we get to 2026, of course. But yeah, we could see the highs come in again. Again, this is long term, and we don't really have the confirmation. But I could see that happen. It could happen. But let's see. But the first step is to break that that downtrend. That is the first and main goal, and then of course to confirm and all that. But big channel break here, you can see that as well. Big channel break. So interesting. The negatives, if we are to look at that side again, this is again the risk is that this is a like a bear flag, bear pennant kind of thing, where we break out and then we can't really get away from the breakout. But yeah, of course, when and if we break the wedge to the upside, again it happens at roughly 0.6, then I think everything is negated and we're gonna want to go higher, and I'm attacking that one there. Lithium still looks good. Bought it twice, internal break, and then the next break here, and then we actually called 1/3 here, so we had like a tripwire, and we have a little bit more upside until we reach some resistance, right, at roughly 50, almost 50, but we're gonna hold on to it. Massive backtest twice actually, so that is interesting. Also note the warning it gave up here, back in 2023. Ouch, that was a big one, right? The neckline break here from the head and shoulder. So that hurt for a long time, a very long time. This one here is again one thing that makes me smile big time. JX, which is the CDNX for most of you people. The Canadian venture composite. We are breaking here on the 4th. This is insanely good for miners and emerging markets and all that good stuff. It's a 20-year macro wedge getting broken now. So we have 3 impulses, and then so this is really cool to see. And the first warning we made, or the alerts, saying that we might break. That is the break of that head and shoulder down here, and we have been going up ever since, basically ever since. Can you hear the music? If not, I'll just turn it down for myself. That is. Oh, I need to talk to him as well. 1 second here. Just keep coming with the questions. That's totally fine. I'm just gonna answer a potential guest on this one here. Let me check here. 9 a.m. Mountain Time to GMT +2, right? I think it is. Okay, yeah. 2 p.m. Okay. 2 p.m. I can. Yeah. Okay. I'm planning, and hopefully I will have, I will have Tavi Costa for the first time, talking to him this week here. That's going to be truly a big moment for me personally, but also again he's so great at what he's doing. I think he's a really cool guy. So that's going to be interesting, very interesting. David, Tavi Costa, excuse me, Tavi Costa, yeah. Anything else? Again, shoot with questions. We can do whatever you want, basically. Just enjoying that weekly candle on uranium. Perfect. Again, back in the day, turning really bullish in November 2020. It's been 5 years, but it's been a lot of pain, but also a lot of gains. But the pullbacks that you get in commodity. Where the hell did my headset go? Oh, bloody hell. Cool, I'm back again here. Sorry for that. I had to go just for a quick minute. SilJ versus SPY, yeah. Platinum versus gold. Okay, cool. Ratios. I like that. I like that very much. Where can we find them? I'm blind. There it is. We can do. No, let's do it here instead. It's better just to type it in and see. So yeah, this is my main. Again, this is very long term, weekly. This was the, again, 0.35, an internal break in favor of platinum. Overall, still long-term downtrend, but I think this could be the start of, you know, our performance by platinum against gold. Right. Of course, the big break comes here, right, at roughly 0.5, roughly. But I think this could be the start of something. And you can see we basically stopped at the zero, you know, the zero line there on momentum. So that is also quite nice to see. But I think platinum is going to do better compared to gold from now on. And that confirmation came in June. But overall, you can see still making lower lows and lower highs. But I think we could see a change coming into, you know, in like 8 months' time, somewhere around here, April 2026. I think that will change. I've missed the line here. I can see we actually peaked right there. Boom, perfect. So another internal break will happen soon here, I think. It's not as steep as this one here. Therefore, I think it has more validity to it. You can see we have 1, 2, 3, 4 here. We're going to break here, and then we're going to go to the blue, and then we're going to have a big fight. But ultimately, platinum is a platinum is better. Platinum is better. More volatile and all that. Yeah, sure. But have you seen the platinum chart? I think you have. It's out of this world, right? Right there, 1,500. You could have gotten in at 1,000, but I had my levels 1,050, my bad, because then you were breaking every downtrend and all that, and you can see the pop after. And this is the first pullback. Long term, really bullish, insanely bullish. Short term here, correction mode. You know, it is what it is. We don't really care. So let's see how low it goes, and then we will definitely find yet another entry, or like where you can add, of course. But should we do platinum against silver? I think we will. That's also, if I remember correctly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. again here, again June, platinum really started to move and break out. And you also had an internal break here in the ratio. Right? So the overall system is still in play. That's that one, the big wedge. False breakdown here while breaking a 3-year channel. You can see it there. Right? Massive pop here. And we also said this will probably be the start of platinum, outperforming silver for some time here. Of course, we need to break this one here. And, that's the long-term bad boy, right? 2008, 14, 22. And platinum is tracking oil big time. So again, if platinum is doing that, I guess oil will follow quite soon. Oil, yeah. Silje versus SPY. I haven't done that in a while. Or maybe I haven't done it ever, I think. But let's check. That's quite cool to see. Oh, we are really carving out a bottom, aren't we? Or trying to, at least. We are making the first weekly higher high in basically a long time. You can see here coming down. But I would say if we take the highs from 2016 to 2020, this is probably my main takeaway as of now. So we are almost there. That's interesting, right? The big one, almost there. Again, these are very long time frame stuff, so. The good thing is we are closing above that high there, in this one here, so it doesn't take much to actually start the outperformance against the SPY. Can you imagine silver miners do that? Outperform the SPY for an extended period of time? It just means that we are still really, really early, in my view. We also had some internal breakage here. You can see if we draw this down here, something like this, right? We did have some funky stuff, but it's maybe not. So the danger signs in this ratio is, in my view, if we start to break down from that, you can see here 2025 bounce, bounce, bounce. So if we can't break here and start to come down, that would be bad. If we break and then start to correct here, that would be, of course, the best case. Stocks go up, yeah, they do. They over time only go up. Stocks. Oh, we did Larry. I think you can. This will be put up, and you can see that it was the first stock we looked at, to be honest. So maybe you can scroll back. I don't know if you can do that. You can scroll back and see, but if not, you can check it when it comes up later, in like an hour or so. I'm just gonna be here until like 11, and then I'm gonna do some business, and then just get some business done with a few people, and then hit the bed, really. Silver gold ratio. Ooh. It's going to be fun to see what happens when we start to break these lows over here. Right. That's going to be really interesting. Good junior miners that are lagging. Oh, okay. I think yeah, okay. I don't know exactly if it's a gold and or silver. Again, you have to check that yourself. But again, this was one stock we really were looking at on the Substack upon that break, and I still think it's good here. This is where you start to accumulate, where we are on BIG, right? We had a big break here at roughly 0.7, rally into the big gap up here, and then we have a back test now. So basically, as long as we hold the yellow uptrend, the big uptrend going back 5 years, you're good to go. So if we lose the blue, right, the blue line here, the short term, and then we lose the yellow, then you're out. But starting to buy here makes a whole lot of sense to me on BIG. So that is one that is looking good. And I think we're gonna grind through the gap, get to the highs, and then we shall see. But when and if we break the highs here, depending on how we do it, right? When and if we get to here, breaking the all-time highs, then all of a sudden you open up for a, I mean, really big move on BIG. So if you're gonna play the long, I mean take the long shot on BIG, you can take profit along the way. But I would say if we get going here and play this yellow uptrend, you are, if I can find it here, again, this would probably be your something like that, right? Risking 20%, give or take, and having from 0.75 to basically 8, and that is 1,000%. And it will be volatile. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. You will see 40% pullbacks easily, and it's gonna hurt big time. But again, the risk here is really good. That's my take here. Right or wrong, again, risk reward, perfect, fantastic. What was the risk actually? The risk reward ratio. If we do this, let's say we do 20 something percent there, and we are lucky, 50 to 1. Even if you only correct 10% of the time, you're still making money, right? So, but yeah, you can't take profit along the way. If you want to become risk-free, you can do it at the all-time highs there. At that point in time, you sell half maybe, and then you don't really care what happens, right? And then you can. So, I think it looks good, risk-reward. It's just up my alley, really. It is not the worst. I will do one more, to be honest. I want to show you one thing that I shared today with... nice. That's really good. Yeah, let's do... No, we will do Santa Cruz because that was a God tier setup. There were like 5 major good setups on gold stocks in that period, and Santa Cruz was just amazing. But this one here is China Tech, one that we also shared today, or yesterday, but during the weekend here, and we are actually triggering here a head and shoulder pattern there. So China Tech, as long as we hold the pattern, we're going to go to 90, right? Almost 90, 90-ish, with some resistances along the way, of course, but China Tech looks really good, really good. Santa Cruz, there you are, my big friend. Yeah, look at that one. It's just, it was one of those really good ones, right? Bought it there at 0.42. That was our initial buy. So breakout, back test, and we haven't been looking back ever since. We're gonna go, we do have a little bit of a bull trap, high here where we are at the moment. I wouldn't worry too much, but I still think we're gonna target the upper golden here at roughly 2.2. So, and that's basically that whole uptrend here, right? We only have 3, but I think they are, at extreme. And I think the nature looks good to me, even though we need a 4th to really confirm it. I'll take it. I'll take it. So, and what makes it looks like it's okay for me is that we had this. You can see we're just grinding it here, holding. So that to me confirms that we are probably correct with the uptrend, and we're gonna go to 2.2. That's the target anyway, but we could go way higher. And I think we will, because we have this head and shoulder target. Boom. Something like that, right? Breaking out target 5.4. 5.4. With potential overperformance, of course. But don't get me wrong, I would never buy it here. I would never touch it here. Never ever. Again, it's a risk-reward thing, really. So I would never touch it. But the entry was just fantastic, really. But just again, you can see here with the Bollinger Band came really tight on the weekly. We started to break, backtest, rally. You can even see Bollinger Bands here on the monthly. So again, monthly time frames, you have 22 daily candles in that, and we're just hucking Bollinger Bands here. That is really cool. That is really cool to see. It's what I like to call the I call it power node setup, because you're having everything perfectly aligned, and either way you break from this wedge here, you're gonna have a big move. So, and we did break to the upside, and we just took it, bought heavily, and yeah, the rest is history. Up quite nicely, right? Holy. Will there be a pullback? Of course, but that's why we need a good entry. We can't just buy randomly, because you can all of a sudden do some really bad stuff, and then you will get shaken out before you go higher again and all that. So yeah, it was again, you need the entry to be correct, and this one here, for instance, together with SUP, had everything that I needed to really go big time into those stocks. Here you have it again, 0.66 on SUP, Bollinger Band or expansion. I'm seeing everything, really. We did the analysis on the Substack before we got in, and even after, when we had the entry, and we just, yeah. I still think we're gonna go to 1.6 before any. We might have a trend here. I wanna add in just to see what it. Oh, have we broken it already? Or? Yeah, it doesn't matter. Okay. So I think we're gonna go to the highs of 2021, and that is a big triangle high. So that somewhere around there, I think we're gonna pause, consolidate, pull back, whatever you want to call it, and then go later on to 2.4. If we can break the 2.4 down the road, right, then all of a sudden we open up for a move way higher than people could actually imagine. Because you have the yellow uptrend, right? You have 3 on the low side, 1 on the top. Maybe, just maybe we could go there. That will be one for the records, I guess, if we get to there. Right, but we will cry many times along the way, because we're gonna get kicked really hard in the face many times until we get to there. Yeah, no worries about the Santa Cruz. It was a fantastic one. It really was. Happy to share. And the good thing is, you can just put your stop so tight, right? You break here, you can have a stop below here, or the recent swing. So you, again, 0.46, you could have gotten out. So the risk reward, it was just perfect. It was just perfect. What the hell happened here? Excuse my language. It has to be the chart. It has to be. It has to be something on the chart. A split. 400. I don't know. It has to be some sort of I don't know. Okay. Baba here, I think it's gonna do it. It's breaking the wedge. It's gonna go higher again. The Chinese tech, right? Looks good. Looks really good. I think we have also one here we have forgotten. If I can do it correctly here, we could probably align it okay-ish. Yeah. Yeah. So I think Baba here is ready for a big push. JD. Maybe. Xpeng, yeah. That was also a good, decent entry here. One there again, Looks really good. Xpeng looks good. If you have a position, I wouldn't change it. Baidu needs to get its shit together here. Otherwise, potentially we will have a 20-year breakdown. Head and shoulder pattern, 20 years. But if we can get back above 100, then I think we will negate that right shoulder, right? But it comes to a point now where it needs to make up its mind, really. Yes, I only use log scale. I did that until 1.5 years ago. I did it. Well, one of my good friends uses it. Two of them actually, and one of them is my real life friend, and said use Logscale, and I said nah. And then yeah, later on I started to use it. Just tried it out, and of course we get things wrong. We always do, but I think my hit rate just became increased heavily on the Logscale. So yeah, Logscale by far. Again, if we are to go to Bay, let's do. Should we try to do Santa Cruz on a non-Logscale, just for fun here? I don't know. You can see here. Yes, you would have gotten the entry at 0.6, but it's just you can't see any detail because it's just if a stock is collapsing, you can't see details, in my view. And Logscale, you start to see a lot more straight lines coming in, and you can see the details a lot more. But again, you would have seen the buy at 0.6 on Santa Cruz. So, but yeah, I use Logscale all the time. NIO here, not to sound stupid, but I think this is a gift here. Massive break on NIO. Head and shoulder at the bottom, breaking downtrend. 4 years, 5 years. I think NIO is going to go higher. You can have a stop at 4.5 if you want to. The entry were given at 5 point something, 5.3. So HBR, it sounds familiar, I think, on the LSE. What is it? Yeah. Is it this one here? HBR. I'm an idiot. HBR. Harbor Energy. OTC. The gap will be filled. This one here. Oh. It's not my favorite. Again, very messy. Small stock. No. How big are you? Let me see. I can't see it here. Am I blind? Where is the market cap? Okay, 4 billion. That's big. Yeah. Messy stock overall, but I wouldn't start to touch it until we clear that. Then we have something going, but overall it has been hammered quite hard, right? It really has been killed. So until we get above that one, I wouldn't really be interested by any means. And even then, you have to look for some really good setups and all that. So it's yeah, I don't have much to say about that one other than you need that one to break before potentially something good happens, right? That's a 4-year trend line breaking. We could see a spike, but to call that a bottom, I wouldn't go that far. Yeah, dividends 10%. Okay, that's cool. The reason why I'm looking is because my mic is in a stupid place, so I have to do that. Maybe that's better. Bitcoin just got smoked here. What the hell happened? What the? Something came out. That's 1 hour ago. Or is it just some sort of a... Okay. This is interesting to see what happens overnight here while I'm asleep. That is interesting. All of a sudden you see that reversal there. I have 1.10k. Look at that actually. Look at the tick. Woo. And it's a line that I had on for a long time. The highs from here. We basically ticked it. So again, yeah. Is this some sort of liquidity, flush before we go higher? I don't know, but 110k and 112k is actually very big numbers. And what you can see here, we have actually erased the gains that were made on Friday. So we have to wait and see what that I'm not going to call anything yet, but it's interesting. Again, often if we have a big move on some sort of news, or it could be, you know, some sort of CPI data, whatever, you reset that move and then potentially go higher. So, but that's wow, ouch. Okay. Yeah, I don't know if I used the correct term, but often you see that on many stocks and commodities and ETFs. You see that stop hunt getting, you know, the big players go for stop hunts before, you know, we do the big move to the upside or the downside. You know, they go for liquidity. You know, they break out, they go for liquidity, they exit, and then you come down. You know, the market likes to flush you out. So, um, so again, I'm not going to call anything. But I was just surprised when looking at it. You know, we switched to crypto here, and then all of a sudden we saw that boom down, big volume as well. So, okay, let's see, let's see. Oil bottom. I want to show you something again. I don't think there's much downside in oil. I really don't believe so. Because again, this is platinum. You know platinum. Maybe I should do a different setup here. Fun stuff. That's just where I play around with funky stuff. Move that, go away, and we're gonna do platinum here just very quickly. I want to show you why I think we are very close to the bottom in oil. Of course, we could, again, if we get a nasty, you know, recession, whatever, you know, big bad numbers, we could get a flush down. But I don't believe that there's a whole lot, unless we get some sort of a black swan. Where are you? USD WTI. So this is basically the correlation between oil and platinum. And platinum, you know, broke out heavy, you know, like a month ago, 2 months ago. And maybe I can do this, you know, let's do this, we do remove it all. So you can see here, if I can align it better, you know, whatever. You can see how, you know, the correlation between platinum, right, and oil. Big low here. You can see the flush as well. The highs somewhat close to each other. This is oil and that is platinum. And you're seeing platinum break out. So the correlation is very high, right? You can see they basically track each other. Not perfectly, but they do correlate very much. So you can see here also that if we do this, again, this was, excuse me, something like that. This was the big break on platinum, right? And then we have oil, right? Basically, we are above. So unless we get something, you know, not so good in whatever, then I think oil is close to its lows. That's what I believe in, and I do think it's 77 or is it 70 that is my breakout. You know, when we are, you know, breaking out on oil. Let me check here. I can't remember. Yeah, we have a big one there at 70, but I need to see this upper golden. Again, we had a big pump here, and I also said this is, wow, this is it. But we basically got stopped right here again. So I need to see roughly 75, 77. And then I think this whole 5-year, 4-year, whatever is over, and we're going to go higher on oil. But for now, it's just boring, doing not a whole lot, right? So 77, that confirms it. But once we start to get north of like 70, it gets really interesting for oil. So, yeah. Platinum, oil, I think, platinum, it's Russia and a lot of countries in Africa. So you're having a very, very tiny market. And a metal that is, I think, 30 times more rare than gold. And they are being produced in Russia, you know. They can cut it off easily. And in Africa, you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, basically. You know, it's so unstable that it doesn't take much to really... yeah, the remnant, you're absolutely correct. And that's a really good take, because That's perfect. I love you for saying that, because this is oil, right? So the war broke out, if I remember correctly, it broke out here, February in 2022. So this here was the breakout, and people were saying later on, the politicians, of course, the reason why oil is so high is because the war broke out, all that good stuff. But as you say, it was the blow off top, boom, right? Then we had a huge bear flag after, and the rest is history, right? Looks very similar to what platinum did. So the war is, at least according to the news and all that, is the reason why we had, so the energy is so high. But look what oil did until then, right? Look what oil did until then. Again, of course, we had, the big collapse there in COVID. And then we were just grinding up from basically 0 to almost 100, and then we blew off to 130, and then we just came down. So no, the war is not the reason. I completely agree. Yeah, I completely agree. That's well spotted. But no, I don't think there's much more downside here. Again, I don't, unless we get a new 2020. Right. Maybe we get 1/3 spike here down to 50. Maybe. Yeah, platinum. I think there's also again, I don't do a lot of fundamentals, but there were a big swift many years ago from platinum to palladium. And then palladium rose heavily, and platinum got out of favor. Maybe that's it also. In analytical, what's it called, converters, COS. So yeah, but yeah, platinum, tiny market. Should we check how rare it is? I think it's 30 times. How much rare is platinum compared to gold? Keep it short. Keep it short. Cool. Yeah, okay, 20 to 15 to 20. 15 to 20 times. So, and again, if you look back in time, I think, where we are today for the past, few years is the cheapest platinum in relation to gold that we have ever seen. And yeah, I'm very bullish on platinum long term. The next few years here is going to be really good. I'm very interested in that platinum, that Bitcoin thing. I'm waking up here. I'm waking up, and when I go to bed, in like 7 hours here, there. Wow. Let's see. Could be a warning, or like, yeah, you really don't want to close the next month and the week, of course, below 110. That would suck. Yeah. Again, feel free to ask questions in the comments. I'm just sitting here, relaxing, looking at different things. So I want to show you one Danish stock. I'm from Denmark, so I'm allowed to. Just gonna check here. Oh, look at that beauty. Boom. It was also a stock we did on Substack that once we crossed like 14, maybe 15, this tiny Danish company, whatever, they make some music, sound equipment. That's a massive breakout. Holy shit, that's really good. And the first call was made down here at 10. So then we've made one just last week as well. So that's really cool to. I could see we go to 21, 27 here, over the next year or so. 27, and we are now at 15. Yeah, that's cool. That is cool. Where are you all from, by the way? Just to hear where you're from. I'm just a boring guy from Denmark, so that is yeah. Ooh, let's check. Oh, this is nice. Really cool candle here on the weekly, on the Sprott Physical, double volume. I think we are carving out that. Oh, Dallas, cool, Dallas. I would love to go to the US one time, sometime. I've actually talked to Andy, Finding Value Finance, that I'm gonna visit him at some point in time. So I can't remember exactly where he lives, but it's not Dallas. It's not Dallas. So. But again, here I had this little, bottoming structure here, and I think we're gonna carve out that right shoulder. Even though it's below the left, it's technically, it doesn't matter, but for the really bullish setup, I like to have the right shoulder higher compared to the left. But I'll take it. I'll take it. That is very interesting here. That's really cool. Is it Colorado Springs, I guess, or again, I don't know. I don't know where things are. You have to remember, Denmark is insanely tiny, right? We are like 6 million people, and I think if we were in the U.S., we would be maybe one of the smallest states that there is. So I live in the south, and I could drive to the top, going from south to north, in 4 hours driving within, the speed limit. So 4 hours could take me, the entire distance of Denmark, north and southwest. West, east. Tiny, tiny, tiny. Cool. It's gonna be nice. I have some explorers, yes, but again, it's more of a gamble, yeah. But I do it, of course, with technicals to get in. But yes, I do have those that could do many X, but also could dilute tomorrow, and you're down 40%, like that. So yes, I do. I'm just gonna enjoy here a very, again, if we start to get a green week here, let's say we close above 24 on U.UN, you can see the lower side of the Bollinger, right? It's starting to curl down, and typically, again, something that I've noticed, if you get a green candle, the candle after, in this case the week, then you really start to see the collapse here, and then you see the updrive, and then we're gonna go to 26 neckline, and then you're gonna break and rally big time. So it's a very interesting week here for the U.UN and the uranium spot price. Really interesting. Good volume. So no, this is the daily. My bad. It's the daily. Okay, it's not that long term, but I'll take it anyways. Oil. Yeah, there is an insane long term channel I want to show you. Really long term. And we have to do Heikin Ashi, otherwise you can't see it. Again, I think it's been a while. If you don't take that into account, which was the 2020 stuff. If I remember correctly, there is some very long-term stuff here going on, and I think it's aligning pretty nicely. Again, you can see here, we're just gonna look at this. And this goes back to basically 50 years. So depending again of your time frame, but yeah, we could see some insane high prices on oil. I think 5 years out, I don't. At that point in time, you will not see oil below 100 ever again. Yeah, I think that's a good call. 5 years out. Maybe 3, but 5 years for sure. I don't expect to see oil below 100 ever again. That's a bold statement, I guess. That's cool. Uranium stocks? Yeah, I mean, I want to show you something really cool. Yeah, there's a lot of oil. There really is. But I think people are underestimating how much oil we still need for the next 10, 50, the next 10, 20 years. But yeah, oil is tricky. Oil is very tricky, but I still think this is a really strong setup for now. Right, this whole flag thing here. And we have had our the big macro wedge, right? We have that has been broken. We're breaking out, flagging now. So to me, it's just a matter of when. I don't know. Yeah, but oil is tricky because it's by far the biggest commodity, and it's the most important thing. The most important commodity that we have, basically. So yeah, that's my take. I just think the question is the path to get above 100. Do we get a big flush before? Maybe, right? But I think ultimately we are gonna go higher one way or the other. Again, we're looking at insane long-term prices here, so yeah. Uranium could do. I think they could do well. And this is my favorite go-to. And one of my early finds, like 2 years ago, I found this big curve here. If you've been following me, you know that that I've been posting this many times. But basically, the past 10 years is one big curve, accumulation phase. And the fun part, we just started June 2025, the real fun part. Of course, we bought heavily in 2020, but then in relation to the spot price, we basically came down, made the spring, and now we're gonna hopefully do this, right, where we will have oh, my voice is cracking up here, where we will have, again, we could see 100%, let's say 100% outperformance in relation to spot price, and we just looked at the U.UN, which looks good. We're not there yet, but it has very bullish vibes, so it will most likely go up during that period. So yeah, uranium looks really strong. And this was our, cushion, you could call it, or the one we went back to and say, hey, we're still on track. Because 2024 was really bad. In relation to the price, it was insanely bad, so. Could go to 500, then eventually drop below 100. Yeah, it could be. Okay, it's very cyclical, so you could get a massive spike, and then for many years, the big utilities, they are set and they are not buying anything. It could be. And again, I'm not that much into the whole fundamental stuff, and I think the Justin Hune, the what is this? A uranium insider. He knows way more than me. Fundamentally, he knows way more than me. So again, this was UUU, which we talked about earlier, long term. Yellow cake. The monthly might be a bit too long term. Flagging here just above the breakout point on yellow cake, and to my knowledge, they also buy uranium. So. ASPI, it looks a bit cluttery, but this was one of my best entries as well. Back in the day. Right around here. Boom. There it was. The start of 2024. It's been a lot of fun, but also a ton of pain, right? So, yeah. Oh, we hit the target. Okay. But overall, I'm still very much in love, you can say, with the whole ASPI. I think we could have one massive surge to 22. And then I'm probably going to sell something if we get to that point. But again, from like 2 to 22, that's crazy. Laramide, again, I'm holding a position, and I'm just waiting for this one to break, hopefully to the upside, of course. Anything north of 0.7, maybe a tad higher, and we trigger some really big breakouts here. You can see this goes back to 2011, right? Boom. 2020, grinding. So that blue there, basically, you know, above, let's call it 0.8, my bad. Then you could, again, you're going to go to 3, maybe even $8 on Laramide. It has everything that I need to see, right? We have the big weekly, monthly wind up here. Either way we go, it's going to be a big move. We just tagged it here last week, so we need to start moving here. Perfect tag again. This is a trend line that I've had on for like ages, and we tagged it perfectly. So hopefully we start to resume the uptrend again, or the, you know, going back up within that wedge. But 0.8 and above, and I think it looks good at that point in time. Big trigger. You might even want to buy the 0.7 if you want to buy the yellow wedge. That wouldn't be crazy or anything. But the big break is 80 cents on Laramide. Similar here, we have Defiance. Massive break here, and actually we bought it down here. Again, we hit it exactly where we needed to, right? We went up 300% in no time, and then we gave a lot of it back, 60%. But now I'm ready to add more if we get the break of the upper blue here. So anything north of like 30 cents right here, and then we trigger a massive move, 100% easily in Defiance. Easily. And we have our red uptrend. That is our main frame, you know, for the long-term picture. Just look at the oscillation. If we get to that, you know, roughly 2, maybe 1.8, 1.9, you should probably sell. But again, from 0.13 to like $2, that is great. First leg up, second leg, maybe third, fourth. Right, I could see that happening easily. My music is gone. Can you hear the music, by the way? Because if you can't, I will change to something else that is not copyright, and then fix the music for the next stream. What else? Look, I don't want to talk about Canalaska. That one is a problem child to me. UEC here with a big. Oof. I don't have much. I've basically deleted it all here. But it wants to go higher. Momentum break as well. Look at that momentum up here. Boom. Momentum breakage. And that's something that I need to learn. I need to. So we have momentum break, but we're breaking some formations that I'm typically not interested into. So, but yeah, we shall see. But I need to redo UEC at some point in time during this week here. Again, just to acknowledge the big entry that were down here. Again, depending on how you draw this, but at that time I didn't use log scales, so that might be it. But again, roughly 1.3 here was my big entry. Again, I bought the biggest portion of my uranium stocks at that point in time. I think 80%, maybe 70 now, but 80%, you know, I bought back here. Different stocks. LEU, Lightbridge, Cameco, NextGen, UEC, of course, Mega Uranium, I bought back then as well. Denison Mines, of course, yeah. Yeah, these guys. LOT, yeah. It's in the, it's down under. And for some reason down under, you know, they just, again, I've said this for the past few times, that that Australia, for some reason, are not getting the love, right? And I think it's a currency issue. And again, I'm not that good at the whole currency game and all that. But if you do the US USD divided by AUD, right? Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, you can see that again. The USD is crushing it, right? So that might be the reason why. For now, it's crushing it. It doesn't take much to completely reverse it, by the way. Maybe that's the reason why. I don't know. What about if we do Canadian? Again, the Canada one is also, it sucks compared to the euro. Okay. But yeah, LOT here. You mean Lotus, right? I guess. I assume. It's just. I think we're about to turn. Alright. Excuse me. But again, we need to see a little bit more. And yeah, these Australian stocks, they're just yeah. But even though we don't have to dish them all that much, but you can see here again the big entries again. 2020 was just a out of this world entry on uranium stocks, and 1.5 we are now at 6, so it's not bad. But we were at 18 at some point in time. And also here I want to see this golden here break, and then you break the blue at roughly $8. Then you trigger a move back to the yellow at a 15 or so. So it is starting to, what is momentum saying to us? Trying to turn green, but maybe something, yeah. I think we're, yeah. I think the love is coming back in, but after how much? 80% down in Paladin, it takes some time to undo that momentum, right? Of course. So also look at the flip switch here, right? In momentum, after being red for basically 10 years, boom, green. Then you backtest momentum, and then you break down. But again, the big backtest here. So I'm really starting to incorporate this whole momentum thing into like an indicator, but my only indicator, because I only use price. So, but I like the momentum idea behind it. It's really cool. Again, please ask questions again in the comments on the chat function. You can. I'm gonna be here for like 5 minutes more, and then I need to get some shit done, and then hit the bed. Encore Energy. Oh, you mean this one here? That one there? Yeah, it's up. It's up quite nicely this year. 2024 was a bit rough with the uranium stuff, but it has quickly changed that. So, but yes, it's this year to date is really good. I'm not complaining at all. So. And I think we're just getting started, especially when you look at the gold sector. Again, if you do the GDX divided by gold, this is basically all you need to know, in my view. This stuff here, right? And yeah, this is yeah, they are up heavily, and as mentioned earlier, we turned, you can't see this on this ratio, but on the GDX you can see. But when gold broke out here, this is where gold broke out. And that is also when you look at the GDX and the SILJ for that matter. We said this is now time for gold miners to really do well, silver miners as well. And now finally it's also outperforming gold. Because remember, from May 2024, or like April, gold went from 2K to 3.5K. And only now is the miners starting to be a better play. And so you will get more volatility in the stocks and sector, but you are outperforming long term now. And my belief is that we're going to go here. That's the next target, the green there. So we have, from the breakout point, we have 33%. But also here now, from where we are today, we have 20% more in favor of miners until we see some bigger resistances. This is 10 years, by the way, I'm also thinking that it's gonna break, and then, even better, right? Even better. So, but yeah, some of the stocks are just up crazy. MKO as well was a really good gold stock, or silver. I don't know really. Precious metals anyway. This was my thesis on MKO, and bought it there at 3.8. That line there, and now we are at 6, and there's more to come. Right, I'm not really worried by any means now. So I don't know what that is doing, but so that was the entry we made on MKO as well. So that is really cool. Really cool to see. What about Newmont? Just a big player. I don't own Newmont, but it's underperforming so bad. Holy. Okay, cool. I thought it did better. Is it AEM then? That has been, yeah, it's AEM. Yeah, exactly, AEM here. I do not own this one, but again, we set long from like 90, and we have big targets for AEM here. It just has been from 90 now. It is at 140. It just keeps grinding up, man. And remember, this is the big guy, right? 70 billion. 70. KGC? What is that? KGC? Oh, Kinross. It's been a while since I looked at that. Holy, yeah, that's, again, I would never buy it here, but holy man, holy shit. I think, looking at it, we're going to come to a point here soon. I'm going to explain why. Where we pull back, and that's fine. If we do, that's totally fine. If we do, entry here, okay, cool. This one is iffy. But if we get to here, right, this 30-year macro wedge, if we get to here, let's just rest for a bit. Wouldn't that be great? And then break on the 4th. You're getting a killer entry there. Absolutely killer entry there. Yeah, I think selling here is fine. Again, not saying it can't go higher, but again, it has been doing 500%, whatever. So I think it's fine. I also, you can see here, we're getting to like the upper end of this internal stuff here. Yeah, exactly. So again, I think we're close to the end for this leg here, but I would also say again, we could pause for like half a year, and then we break the channel right higher. But I wouldn't chase it here. I would never ever do that. Never. But what a there were no trend there. So just Dundee DMLP Dundee DMLP. No. DPM. Dundee Precious Metals. Wow. Why? It's been so long time since I looked at this. This is an analysis that I did for yeah, I remember. Okay, cool. $10, yeah. This was a very old analysis. The entry was given there, and for some reason I don't have it on my list. Wow, okay, cool. But $10, yeah, and we are now 25. Looks good. Yeah, that was an old, yeah, I remember that now. That was an old thing I did for some people. That's cool. And they've made good money, so that's good. Yeah, the first target was 21 roughly. You know, kind of like a cup and handle here, or head and shoulder, you can call it whatever you want, but that has been met, and we're now, you know, overperforming a bit here. I will say though, if we ever start to get close to, well, 33, 34, that is probably where we see some stiff resistance. up there. Basically, the reason is we have this 10-year uptrend, right? The low side and the high side. So if we get to there, I wouldn't be surprised if we pause for quite a while. Again, I would never buy it here, never, ever, ever. But the entry that I sent to some people there at roughly 10 performed well. That's cool. That's nice. That's really nice to see. Yeah, iron. That's actually. Yeah, that is possible. I haven't been looking at it, but I know the chart in my head. At least the Chinese one. Yeah, I think is it TO? Yeah. Do you have a ticker that you're looking at? I don't know if we have like a iron ore. Iron ore spot price? Really? TSI? Iron ore spot. Is this the one to use? Do you know? Do you know if this is one to use or TSI iron spot? I don't know. It's only 2 years old, so the ticker Andy uses. Now this one here, Andy. I would have loved it if this one didn't overshoot. Oh, anyway. Not TSI, okay. Which one then, do you know? Or did I miss something? Fort SQ something FMG? Oh, TU. Okay, cool. The Chinese one. I'll get back to that as well. Steel, cool. Yeah, I don't know exactly. It's kind of, sideways stuff here. I'm pretty neutral at the moment, to be honest. Well, depending on the time frame, of course, but FEFT? FEF1? Okay, yeah, okay, cool. It has to be this one, I guess. Oh, it's the same as TU, yeah. It's getting tight. Bit of a messy one, right? But that was the, what do we have here then? This is 2022 for some reason. I'm not completely sold yet, I have to admit. Not completely. It depends on again, the long-term stuff, until you clear that one, you can't really be, again, this is 5 years. So until you get to that point, you can't really be saying that, hey, we're breaking out. But if you're looking at it shorter term, again, you might see some internal stuff here now lurking. But and then I would do the lower side here. I think this is some sort of, I don't know what that is. Yeah. We are now at 102 here. It's a bit tricky here, but we could start to expand here. But again, 110 and above, and then I'm on board, I guess. Let's see. Let's see. But yeah, that internal break here could be the precursor to the bigger move. But I wouldn't go in earlier only to gain a few percent here. Oh, he's not on lock scale though. Oh, he's using the very steep one, I guess. Yeah, you can see that that's breaking there. It is, but again, I use log scale, so this could be the precursor to something bigger, but also if we start to trade below 90 again here, that's not going to be dicey. That's going to be dicey as hell. So, oh, look at this one here is a beautiful momentum wedge. Again, these type of wedges, you know, we look for on charts as well, but you can see that on momentum also. So that is a good little extra tool, right? You can see this around the zero line. So if we ever break below here, which would probably also be a break below 90, then it looks like iron ore is cooked. But if we break above here, then so big moment coming up here. I will say, what happened now? August, we have September, October, November. Within the next 3 months, we're gonna have at max, we're gonna have this one play out and show its direction. So I think before 3 months, of course, but I think you get the idea. Let's see if we're aligning here somewhere. If we take that as a, you know, as valid, we have a false breakdown. So again, that is a plus sign also, right? Because we were actually about to break on the fourth here. 1, 2, 3, 4 back test, and now we're back above. So again, big moment here for September on iron. Big moment, September. Yeah, that's a good note. Crypto, again, I'm really interested in that Bitcoin thing there. A lot of volume coming in. Why did it all of a sudden just... Maybe Twitter knows. Do they know? There's something happening. Sometimes you can see, and you know, who did this? Yeah, exactly. Confess. I know. Again, it came out of the blue. That's why I was like, what the... A Dogecoin maxi. Jake? Really? Dogecoin? Yeah. Funny. But again, even if Bitcoin is going to break down, let's say it does, I don't think you can have an all season if Bitcoin is, you know, flat to slightly trending up, but not if it goes down. We haven't seen that before, so I wouldn't. I'm not buying that at all. How is the sound, by the way, from my mic? I turned it up a lot compared to the last time I did a live stream, because people were complaining of very low sound, and the OBS, I have to turn it way up, so for some reason, I don't know. I think we're coming to a point here on NatGas, you know, into support, somewhere just below us here. I think we could have a spike higher in gas, like 10-20% initially. Can I update? Can I see my... yes, that one there. Can I then see the... oh, maybe I don't know. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I can't remember the last few times. We had 2 rate cuts this year right before. Or was it last year? But yeah. I mean, the reason why they're cutting is not because everything is fine, so. Sound is good. Perfect. I'm glad. I'm very good. Very glad. Because many people were complaining last time in the comments that they couldn't hear anything. So that is, of course, that's fun. That's understandable. This was in my early days, very early days, in charting. I started to say, in early 2021 here, to the people that I worked with at that point in time, that gas is going to be insanely, it's going to explode. Right? This was on non-log scale. And then, the rest is history. So that was, one of the first, together with Coco, one of the first, personal indications that I think there's something to be done here with technical analysis. So, but this was done on log scale, so non-log scale. So, and the Coco trade, if anyone remember, one of the best setups, and I messed it up big time. I also did it on non-log scale at that point in time, but I messed it up so badly. One of the best one-liner charts you could ever imagine. Yeah, I fucked it up. Yeah. I messed it up. I did make some, but I left so much on the table. Speaking of potash, yeah, that could be that's a good. I wouldn't argue again. Potash could be one big, yeah, it could be. Look at this one here, by the way, boys and girls. Coffee. Breakout backtest. Coffee is gonna be so much more expensive. You have no idea. And one thing you can do here, again, we have a perfect parallel going back 50 years. 50 bloody years, right? We're breaking out. We're backtesting now. We do the entire range. Oh, excuse me. We do the entire range, basically. So, yeah, if you like coffee, it might just be a distant memory in 5 years' time. Or at least stack up on the coffee thing. Potash, is there a ticker for the price itself on potash? I can't remember. I should know, but I can't remember. So, aren't you supposed to be able to get the chat function into this OBS thing here? And trading you know, he might be right. Might not be anything. Yeah, to buy a farm, exactly. Tools, screen, chat. Ah, I found it, I think. Close. Oh, now you can see it here also. Cool, now you can follow. The next stream will be way better. Perfect, then people can actually read, Yeah, cool. MLP? Yeah, the MLP was a good one. MLP was a great one indeed. Can we do... I would like to have it on the screen here, but I... Go away. And now that went away also, right? Didn't it? Oh, there it is. Cool. Anyway, MLP. Yeah, we could do that, next time. Australian stocks live show. Why not? Why not? We look into them from time to time, but they are just underperforming so much. Again, this is what, again, for some reason the mod is cute here. I'm going to redo that. Also one we looked at on the Substack, really. We have to do Hakenashi, I guess. It was like a one-liner, but we started to be really bullish when we broke there. And I didn't believe we would go this fast. So there might have been some signs over here, but again, we didn't really, I didn't really look at it at that point in time or call it or anything. But which one? Grow? GRO? Brazil? Yes and no. I wouldn't touch it until we start to clear roughly here. We have a big zone here that is, until you clear that, you are not in a bull market. This one here. Something like that. Something like that. So we need to clear 2.2 or 2.3, I think. Yeah, volume is coming in. Very small market cap, so, but we are seeing big volume on the daily updates. So volume is coming in. I agree. Again, we do have the wedge also at the lowest point, so it's not typically the best place where we want them, but 220 to, yeah, 220, 2.2, and then it makes sense to me. 220, 220. If I press there, it goes away. Okay, then maybe if I oh, stop that bullshit. How is this? Now this is good. I'm happy. Yep, that's how we do it. That's good. That is good. Soybeans. Getting close to some interesting stuff here. Wheat wedging up here, still not breaking out. Maybe soon. Yeah. Any last questions before? Yeah. I think agriculture is looking. It's not there yet, but we have been looking at this kind of. Just look at this one here. Very messy overall, but I think there are some structure to the whole madness. Again, this is 2000, and then we have. You can see we're bouncing here, so. This is wheat, by the way. So my expectations are if we break this wedge here, after testing that long-term uptrend, that we're gonna see this, right? Big cup and handle, and then we will probably do a little loop here. But yeah, agriculture is looking dangerous. Corn. Okay, getting a puke there, but soybeans, same kind of uptrend, right? On the wheat, but we are bear flagging still. That's why I have that little. I need to see this bear flag be negated, right? I need to see the upper trend line, so then we no longer are worried about the bear flag. So we need to get above roughly 1100, maybe a tad higher, before we negate the bear flag, and then also at that point in time we're breaking out from the 3-year downtrend. So that's why it's interesting, but I'm not going to call anything at this moment on these. Sugar still stuck. It is breaking the very steep internal, but it's still stuck within that whole 2-year bull flag. Long term, it's one of the most pretty and sexy setup that you can ever imagine. Right? Absolutely deadly. Right, we have the wind up here. This is probably the last impulse, low. No, not low, but you touch for the third time, you get a little pushback, and then you break out, and then you could, over the next 10 years, you could see sugar go from 15 to 100, easily 100, with a pit stop at the all-time high over the next 5-10 years. Yeah, that would suck. It would be a good diet though for many people. So, that's all I'm saying. Me included. Yeah, that is crazy. The sugar one, that is bloody crazy. So, yeah. And again here, coffee as well, but we just looked at it. Very simple channel break backtest. Scary. I like coffee, I really do. I might want to restack some if I get a good, Crypto, what are you doing? I think it could have just been like liquidity. Boom. Well, it might be lacking a bit of JVR. A good call was made on JVR, but also somewhat of a poor-ish execution. I will tell you why. And I learned a lot from that one. A lot. So we started to turn really bullish here at roughly 3.7. Maybe you could have gotten in early, I don't know. But that was the channel break, and we rallied, and we were quite pleased because we also broke the blue here, right, coming across. Broke it there, happy days, and we basically tagged like what I call the triangle high, which I didn't see at that point in time. And then we completely collapsed after. Right here. So the thing is with Java is that we are, again, bear flagging now. So we need to undo that. But if coffee is going to grind it higher, I think this will be some sort of a weird, whatever we get if coffee does that. So, and if that's the case, we have this expanding formation here, and they are difficult to predict. But again, if we could, you could see Java go really nuts here. One way to play it, if you are the aggressive guy, you could buy it here at roughly 4.2 ish, and then if we start to drop below, again it's a bit tricky, but again you could do it 380 or so. You could basically play the lower trend line here. Right. Again, very, I wouldn't say risky because your stop is in place, but it's a funky little expanding here, and they are difficult, but it is very interesting here for Java. Can we snipe it shorter term just to see here? I'm interested in this thing here, just pure curiosity really, just to learn, I guess, on this very weird pattern here that we have the expanding and all that. So just for future reference, go long on that break, have a stop below 3.8, and then you can actually see some pretty insane stuff. Coffee addict hedge, yeah, exactly. Exactly. MicroStrategy still, until we negate that breakdown. Ouch. Oh, let's do 5 minutes more. Let's do 5 minutes more. It's fine. But then I'm gonna call it, by the way. I have to. XLM here. I have two positions in crypto. One is XLM, right? Start to buy there at 0.13 after the Trump won. We see what happens. XRP, we bought the break there at roughly 0.6. We see what happens, but overall the chart looks good, so we shall see. These are the only two, and there are more that looks good. If you do the XMR, again here, once you start to break the highs at roughly 400 and something, 460, 470, then you're breaking the ceiling. We have the up, so it doesn't look too bad. I haven't really been looking at crypto in a long time. I think there's a big entry coming up here on ADA potentially. Wow, yeah, really big one. Anything north of 3 at 1.15 should be really good. Yeah, 115. That sucks. BNP. Massive range break here. So we are below the trend line, so that is one thing to note. I mean the entire uptrend, so we have resistance coming in here at 1.3, but yeah. Most exciting thing. That's a lot of things going on. Yeah. It has to be the bond market, right? It has to be the rates, I guess. The rates again is what basically trumps everything, rules everything. We can do the 30-year, or the 10-year might be a better view. Or the 30-year. Let's do the 30-year. So, a bit of history. Again, basically since the highs of 1980, excuse me, you can see we have been in an environment where rates are coming down and down and down. Therefore, having what's it called, variable rates was a huge money printing. You know, it was just so good. You know, you basically, converted when the rates got high, you bought back lower rates, you converted, and you basically cut, your mortgage pretty hefty at that point in time. That, however, has changed with a break there in 2022. Big break in that trend, and now we're looking at higher highs and higher lows. By the way, my parents got this is the US, but they got a 0.5%, basically at no cost, at like 100 in the what's it called, the exchange rate, 99 point whatever in the exchange rate. So they basically got it for free. So they have their second, vacation house or whatever. 0.5%, 30-year. 0.5%. And I've told them not to sell or to convert that, of course, because it's so insane. Now they were lucky. They actually, I think, I can't remember exactly the entire detail, but they did order or made the deal with the company building that house. Then it got delayed a bit due to 2020, and then they started up, and then they did their mortgage. So instead of getting, they were lucky maybe, but instead of getting it at like 2%, they got it at 0.5, because they had that delay of like, I don't know, 4 months, whatever it was. So, but anywho, I think bond market is really the one to look for, the bond market. Yeah, bond market. So, my view is, if, again, I'm not going to sit here and say we're going to have a massive correction, what's it called, recession, all that. We might do. If we do, right, I think this whole thing here could get, smashed down here. So we could have quite a big drop in the US 30-year, only to backtest. And then we are going to go higher. So big higher low here, higher high, and then potentially a massive higher low here, and then we go higher. If we don't get anything here, it sure looks like we could be breaking stuff, right? It looks like we could be breaking this. You could call it cup and handle, you could call it whatever, but we're basically trying to break the highs of 2023 and now 2025. If we break that, rates are gonna just smash it. So yeah. which again is not good, right? I think we have the US 10-year. I was just trying to redo this chart on Friday. I think if we start to lose, roughly 2.4, excuse me, 4.2 or 4.1 here, then I think we could be in a scenario where we could drop right down and then break down later on. I think that could happen, but it's still, we have been in this for like 1 year, basically going sideways. So I think a big move is coming up for rates, which will be, either way we go, it will be a big one. So yeah, I have nothing more. I have to go now. So I will do this a lot more. I think it's very funny to talk to people and just yeah. So that's all, guys. Have an amazing day, new week, and let's end it all with looking at Bitcoin here. It's retracing somewhat nicely still, so let's see what it does. Anything north of that candle there during the night, at least my time, that will be bullish, because you're basically, taking it all back, right? So anything north of 114.7, if we can get that during basically Monday here, then that would be extremely bullish. Just basically undo that whole thing. So have a great day, guys. Cheers.